Hello everybody, how you doing today? So, wanted to talk to you a little bit about inking and how it applies to artwork and how it can be used as inspiration for vector art. I'm a big believer in looking for inspiration, and I've mentioned before I'm a collector, so I collect a lot of my favorite artwork and I collect things from my favorite artists, and I like to use that as inspiration for the other things I do. You may not realize it, but some piece of comic book art is inspiration for a piece of digital art I do somewhere else. So in any case, wanted to mention a few of my favorites. So I'd like to start with a book here. This one is the DC Comics Guide to Inking, written by Klaus Janson. And Klaus Janson is a famous inker from comic books. And he's probably most well known for his collaboration with Frank Miller, working on the Dark Knight series or Daredevil and some things he did in his past. But this is a pretty good how-to book. It talks about the traditional comic book method for inking. Even talks about some of the old-fashioned tools that are used by inkers. But it describes the process, explains some of the choices that the artist makes when they do their inking. Here's a page that's kind of discussing lighting and how to change the effect of the light source, and emphasizing that in just black and white. And that's something that really fascinates me about inking artwork is how you can, identify just a few things in the form with just black and white lines. Fascinating. And that's something that also is really important in vector art is being able to play with line quality and adjusting those lines so they give you a lot of information in a very efficient manner. Okay, so that's Klaus Janson. Another influence for me, somebody I like to look at a lot, is Jeff Smith, and this is his book Bone. Some of you may have read it before, but this is a labor of love that Jeff Smith put together over many years. I think somewhere around 10 years to complete this book. Now it's been collected into this huge Bible, basically. And it was all done by him. He did it a few books at a time, and it was all done in black and white. And you can see, even though it's just black and white, there's just so much drama and interesting line quality in what he does. He's very good at telling a story. He also has an interesting and clever cast of characters. And he says that he was inspired by Walt Kelly, an old newspaper cartoonist, who also had a similar affinity to crazy characters and stuff. But something that I really like in his work is his use of, he's not afraid of using dark black on a page. And he uses it in just the right way to create the right amount of emphasis. Something I used to do in some of my comics. I'd put black backgrounds, and others would say, why would you do that? But I picked it up from guys like him. I just enjoy that stark contrast. So anyways, another really good influence is looking at Jeff Smith's work. Now, Jeff Smith, like other traditional inkers, still works by hand, uses brushes, inkwells. Now we're back. Jeff Smith uses his different inking tools, and so not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of practice, but a lot of those things, those processes, have been mimicked in digital form. Now let me bring you to my last but not least example, and that would be my buddy Travis Hanson. Travis started his comic adventure by doing a book called The Bean, and it's a extended story that he's been working on for many years as well. And you can see as you look through his work, there's a nice variety of settings and characters, and he also has a very interesting line quality. And he's also not afraid to use dark black in the backgrounds and wherever it goes. So, my only complaint with Travis? Really? Papyrus? Travis? Really? Here's a few other books of his. If you have the chance to ever go to a convention, look him up. He's probably going to be there. He goes to a lot of shows around the country, but also on the West Coast. He has extensive knowledge when it comes to self-publishing, and just an inspiring and creative guy. So this is one of his children's books projects. Here's another one. In addition to his inking, I really love Travis's color. Just has a way with color. There's a way of just selecting the right color to set the mood and to set the scene. I've always loved the way he does backgrounds and creates interesting vistas. For some reason or another, I prefer focusing on portraits and characters, but he loves doing backgrounds and really interesting environments. This is actually one of my more favorite ones here. He's always had this, normal world up above, and then this secret fantasy world below, and just look at the color contrast between, the rich, cool blues of the underworld, and then the bright, sunny colors above, reinforced by beautiful line art. Tells a really good story. All right, so those are a few examples that you could look at. Find lots of examples of their work online to see different types of line quality. And when you're working on your own piece, take a second look at your line art and say, is there something I can do to change it, improve it? How far can I push it, and what can I do with it? If you have your own favorites, feel free to share them with me. Like I said, I always love discovering new artists. All right, take care.